First, it was the East. Get out of here, Kevin. Now we move on over to the West. Time to get average, as you can already see. What is going on, guys? We are the Average Bros Fantasy Show, your one-stop shop for average advice, brought to you by Football, Darts, and Fantasy Sports Alliance. Of course, I'm joined by Kevin, but he is having technical difficulties over there, like always, because somebody has a hard time switching on over to wired devices, and he thinks that he can't hear me, but it's something with him. And we have Sean saying, and we're back. Of course, we're always back. Every Tuesday, every other Tuesday, something like that. But while Kevin fixes his mic, and before we get into the show, of course, we would like to thank our broadcast sponsor, Football Darts. Football Darts is a dart game that combines the skill of traditional darts with the strategies of American football. This innovative dart game is played on a uniquely designed multiple target dartboard. It can be played in sports bars, at tailgate events, as league tournaments, or as a leisure activity in the comfort of your home. If you would like to check out their officially licensed collegiate dartboard, head on over to footballdarts.com. And of course, if you guys use code IPLAYFSA, you guys can get 30% off your purchase. And there he was. Came and he went. And if you guys like the show, please like, share, and subscribe to the show, and follow us on all of our social media outlets that you see here at the bottom of the screen, as well as check out our website, fsa-fr.com, which you guys can now see that we have added the new dynasty leagues, being Dynasty, the Echo Dynasty, as well as the Foxtrot Dynasty. And there was a couple things that they fixed on there. I know Kevin wanted to talk about it, but unfortunately, he can't talk. And we have Maria saying, hi, guys. How you doing tonight, Maria? We have Alyssa saying, hello, Josh. How you guys doing over there in Jersey? Sure kind of miss Jersey here and there, but, you know, had to get out. And she says, hi, Kevin, as well. Yes, Kevin is here, but like I said, having technical difficulties as always, just like I'm having verbal difficulties. And of course, please head on over and check out Brad, Josh, and Eric on the Empty Wagon Show Saturday morning at midnight Eastern Standard Time, like always. And make sure you guys enter into our giveaway. Yes, we are doing our first giveaway. We are selecting one lucky winner to win a t-shirt of their choosing. And again, our stat guy has, nicely asked us to have the night off, so he granted his wish, so he is not here tonight. But him and my average brother Kevin, who seems to be here now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. So our stat guy Brian and my average brother, or my below average brother Kevin, will be choosing our winner tomorrow, from what I am being told. But before the winner is announced, you guys can still enter into it. All you guys have to do is head on over to Twitch and follow our new Twitch channel at fantasy_sports_alliance. Or for you guys watching us live, you guys can see it at the bottom of the screen here. And then after you follow the channel, make sure you guys share it on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and tag our account on there so you guys can, or so we can see that you've entered into it. Now, if you don't manage to win the giveaway, we are still giving you guys also an amazing treat. We are also giving you guys 10% off on our limited edition Quan for the Win, Angry Commish, or our Let's Go t-shirt. Just use code Fanatic at checkout and get yourself some above average merch, which I am wearing tonight. I finally got my Quan for the Win shirt and my Angry Commish. So make sure you guys get that stuff. And, oh yeah, see, Kevin's got his Average Bros shirt on, but I guess he feels ashamed of it, so he wants to wear a hoodie over it.
It was a little chilly in here.
It's a little chilly in there. Yeah, when you need to make the change over to wired accessories.
It was working just fine, and I don't know what happened. I think that you could hear me and I couldn't hear you,
Yes, I can hear you perfectly fine, but you could not hear me,
which
which
was
is
odd. I don't know.
which
I
is
didn't
why
even hear the intro.
that's why I don't do
Look
wireless.
who it is.
Oh,
Our
and speaking of the man, we have Brian here with us. And since Brian's here, I might as well show him what I'm wearing. I might as well show it to him. Like,
That's a beautiful T-shirt.
it is a beautiful t-shirt. It's even got the logo on the arm. Very beautiful t-shirt. I am so happy to finally have it in my possession. I know at the beginning of the show, Kevin, you wanted to talk to the nice people about the website or something along the lines of that. So I will now hand it on over to you.
Yes, for all of those in attendance and the millions watching at home from around the world, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that we are switching over to League Safe next year for our payment system. It's really become the standard across fantasy football into which way leagues are being run for payouts. So we're making the switch over. What that means for everybody this year is if you are in Dynasty and you have traded away your first round pick, you do need to pay for next year's fees per the rules. Um, if you do need the link to go do so, I can either send it to you on Discord or however you would like. It's also posted in each Discord channel as well for all dynasties, Alpha through Foxtrot. So go over there, sign up. I know that Brian and I will be hitting that a little bit more tomorrow in detail, but as of right now, dynasties who have sold away their first round picks, please go pay for them.
We have Chris saying get commish to pin it to each league too. Are you guys able to do that, Kevin?
Yeah, I can't. We can't, but the commissioner who's listening at home can.
And we have our beautiful commissioner saying, call me after the show. I have some math I did in my head tonight that makes sense, or that makes me cry. I'm sorry. That makes me cry. Don't use the old noggin too much tonight, Brian. I know that you and Kevin have trouble doing it when you guys are separated. But like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we are going over the West Division teams now. That is both the AFC and the NFC. I believe 2 weeks back we did the East teams. And also, again, I'm going to put a full disclaimer out there that this is going to be all off the top of our heads from what we know about the teams, what we know has happened over the offseason. And also, another big point is it is all personal opinion. If we say that Brandon Ayuk is a wide receiver 1 and you think that he's a flex spot, don't get upset. This is all personal opinion.
And we are average.
Yes, and we are average. That is the motto, the slogan, the theme that we 110% go for every week. So, Kevin, I will let you kick it off while I pull up my sources here.
So we might as well start with Ayuk in the NFC West, starting with the interesting San Francisco 49ers. They trade up possibly to take a quarterback, who knows? But as it stands now with that team, who are your top targets, if anybody, from that team?
From San Fran,
Yeah.
obviously I think the number one person, especially for all you guys in with the dynasty startups coming up and everything, I would definitely say George Kittle, number one, obviously.
Where him overall amongst tight ends?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Where do you see him overall in tight end position?
Are we talking dynasty or redraft?
Redraft first, because that's probably going to be most coveted for people that are going to be looking to add him, and then dynasty after?
I'm going to put him at second. It's a toss-up between him and Waller. I was leaning more towards Waller because they kind of have more of a safer quarterback, as well as, Waller's kind of like the clear-cut number one there. I mean, with San Fran, you still have Ayuk and, a healthy Debo pulling targets away from him. But as far as redraft, I'm sorry. But as far as dynasty, even still, I'm probably gonna have to put him second, and I'd actually probably put Waller above him.
So you would put Waller 1 in dynasty, and what's that? I guess that drops Kelsey down to 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, hold on, give me 2 seconds. Oh wait, no, never mind. Kittle's only 27. I'd actually put Kittle at first.
Yeah, so for me, both dynasty and redraft, I have Kittle 1. Kelsey 1, Kittle 2 in both.
Even in dynasty?
Yeah, as of right now, I think next year that could change. I think he just had too dominant of a year for me to believe he has any type of fall off in the next 2 to 3. And if I'm a dynasty, person who's looking to make a run at a championship, I think that Kittle and Kelsey are both still there, at least to make a run in the next couple of years. If I'm in a rebuild mode, I might drop both of them down a spot and make Waller the 1 just because of the age. But I think that it's very, very close.
Well, yeah, that's why I was going to put Waller at first originally, but then I just saw that Waller is actually a year older than Kittle.
He's a year older, but came in a year later, right?
I believe so. And then the other person that was kind of sneaking his way into my mind in Dynasty was, your guy, Pitts, because, I know you're high on him and everything. Chris says he has Kittle at second in redraft and first in Dynasty, so he's on the same page as me.
And he said Waller came in before, but he didn't play because he had a drug issue, so he missed a year.
Okay. And we have Raven saying, "Oh, kick Kelsey while he's down." The only thing that hurt Kelsey is definitely it's on the fence about this year just because of Kansas City and all the weapons that are there. But I feel like he's still going to produce points. But I can sense a drop off coming very soon, which is why I actually got rid of him in Dynasty.
I did the same thing. I think that we're in agreement there. I think that I'm gonna always tend to sell early, then hold on and sell too late. So if you can get rid of them now and get something decent for him, I believe I got 2 firsts back for Kelsey. So at least some type of value there. I would say go ahead and do it. I think if it's Kittle, I think you hold out a little bit more because if you take a look at last year, Kittle, I think we talked about it when we did the other side and we were talking about tight ends or the East rather. When he was out of game or he missed a game and when he came back, he put up 40 points and then, he got hurt again later in the year. So I think that the injuries will catch up to him, but as of right now, they've been minor in performance overall. So I still have him pretty.
I'm currently looking it up. So, where is he? George Kittle. Yeah. So he played week 1, was out 2 and 3, and then when he came back week 4, put up 45 points. So he still a top target. I think this year is definitely going to be the test is how can he bounce back, coming into the season 100% again. Because if he gets injured again this season, I'm just going to kind of drop him down my list because why are you going to want to draft a tight end 1, possibly within the first 3 rounds, I'm going to say, because of the name recognition, just for him to get injured again? It's not worth my pick.
So, next on the list for me out of San Fran is Brandon Ayuk. I think that he's a fringe 1 guy. because of the quarterback situation. Um, mainly because of his speed there, and there's also not many other weapons in the receiving core. It's kind of bleak. Um, so for me, he's right there on the edge. I think he's a big boom bust guy. I personally sold him just because I was in desperate need of a quarterback in Dynasty. But outside of that, I would have held out and probably held out for a first for him. So
Now, let me ask you this: are you considering any San Fran running backs?
no, I think it's really tough. I love Mostert because of how fast he is, and he has the ability to break stuff out wide. But they're a true running back by committee type team because they're a run first, a heavy running gun offense. So they always want to keep legs fresh. So it's going to be really hard to get any type of fantasy dependability out of their backfield.
Yeah, I think with San Fran, it is really, really dependent upon who is throwing the ball come week one, whether it's a rookie or if it's still Jimmy G doing it, and if he can stay healthy. I think that's what's going to really gauge, if you should go after Kittle or their receivers.
They brought in Emmanuel Sanders, right?
No, that was Buffalo.
You're right. I know they signed another receiver. I thought
Mohamed Sanu.
Sanu, yeah, that's it.
All right.
Raven says 49ers have running backs. Yeah, I mean they have a whole lot of them. None of them stay healthy, and none of them are fantasy dependent, but they've got them.
That is true because I had Mostert in, I believe it was redraft last year.
Yeah.
So moving down the list,
Jimmy. Well, first off, let's say Jimmy G. Are you targeting him in redraft at all in a super flex position, or is it just too early to tell?
I'm definitely gonna say it's too early to tell. I would have ask me next week, and I'll definitely give you an answer.
For me, I would look at him in that second tier range in a super flex spot. I don't see him right now. If I was to draft today, I wouldn't have him as a starter, but definitely would take a late round super flex flyer on him. So,
and we have Eric saying, Sanu, ask the Patriots how that one turned out.
Yeah, not well. Not well at all.
All right, so we went over running backs, tight end, receiver, quarterbacks. Next team?
Yeah, next team. Probably the toughest team in the division until they get beat or unless they stop playing in the second half of the season once again is the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson's still a huge threat. They've got weapons upon weapons out of the receiving core, namely Lockett and DK Metcalf. Yeah. And then they bring back their what looked to be a stud and injury-studded running back, Chris Carson.
So I think we'll start off with receivers.
Eric chimes in, says, "How to do a great show, guys. Thank you for checking in, Eric. Eric is 1/3 of the Empty Wagon guys. Make sure you check them out on Friday night."
Yes, I know they would definitely be doing a very, very deep dive on how, the first 2 rounds by then of the draft have went?
First 3, because Thursday's only 1, and then Friday's 2 and 3. And by the time they come on, that should be over.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely check them out. They are a lot more knowledgeable than me, at least. I don't know about Kevin. But definitely with Seattle, Lockett and Metcalf. First of all, who would you rather have on your team?
I think DK in both cases.
Okay.
I think that he's the definitely in Dynasty DK, and I think in redraft it's extremely close. I think that I just have to go with the boom bust guy in DK The bigger target, usually their downfield threat, usually the yardage guy. They like to use Lockett over the middle a lot, so he may steal on the touchdown side. But DK just keeps getting better and better every year. So Dynasty, definitely DK, extremely close on redraft. Probably could flip either one of them in the same spot.
Yeah, and we have Chris saying he has Lockett for redraft, DK for Dynasty. Lockett purely based on ADP. I think more people would go for DK earlier, which is probably true. So you can probably get.
Yeah, you could probably get a better value out of the pick in Lockett later in rounds. You'll probably see, if I had to guess, I would say DK comes off the board in the first 2 rounds, and Lockett can slip to 3. Raven says DK is a monster that he is, a monster that wears a binky mouthpiece, which I love.
It's like you kind of tell yourself, how can I be intimidated by somebody who wears a binky as a mouthpiece? And then you kind of like zoom out on the picture, and he's just jacked. He's jacked. He's jacked, and the dude is just ridiculously fast. So like he's got like both things you would want in a receiver.
Any other? They don't really have any other receivers to mention out of Seattle, really.
Not really. I know. Didn't they sign a tight end?
Hollister, I believe.
No, Hollister. I thought Hollister went somewhere else.
Or unless he's
Gerald Everett.
Everett, right? Old Everett.
So are you looking at Everett?
I'm not looking at him personally. They're not really a team that uses their tight end too much, just because of those 2 big weapons. Plus, I assume that they're going to bring in another running back. Chris Carson can catch a bit out of the backfield, but they're usually just run and gun. And if there's a check down that needs to be made, Russell Wilson usually stretches the pocket with his legs a little bit, and at least gets back to the line. So they don't use a tight end typically.
Yeah, I think as far as tight ends, I wouldn't touch their tight end. And now, I mean, we keep talking about Wilson. Are you looking at him in, I would say, Dynasty?
In Dynasty, no. I think that there's other options for lesser value that are going to bring longevity to your team versus having Wilson. Granted, the talent's definitely there, but the issue is that there's just again, back to the same thing with Kelsey, is I'd rather sell early and not miss the downfall versus sell too late and keep him too long. So if given the chance to start up in a draft, I'm not going to target him. In redraft, I definitely would, probably in my top 5 or 6 guys that I would look at. So,
yeah, I think that if you're only holding on to him for 1 year in redraft, definitely. Or maybe if you draft him in Dynasty with the intentions of keeping him for 1 year and then dumping him off the next season, which, I mean, good luck selling high on him unless he's like a top 5 quarterback for this season. And then, as Raven hints here, Rashard Penny done. That brings me to the running backs for Seattle.
Yeah, so for the top guy, I know I said him a couple of times, Chris Carson re-signs, coming back. Looked like he was going to try to have a breakout year, then got hurt, and came back and kind of split time with the also hurt Carlos Hyde. Hyde is no longer on the team, so it's just him back there, I believe, by himself now, at least in the main shares. To me, he's probably an RB2 just because of the dependability with an RB1 upside. So you're probably looking, 5 and 6 rounds for him. They also have DJ Dallas there as well out of the backfield, who I think gets more share time than Penny. DJ, I believe, is going into his second year, I believe, rookie last year. I'm pretty sure.
If I saw his name, I would definitely tell you. But yeah, I could definitely agree with you on Chris Carson being a running back to finish 16th on the season last year, missing 4 games and average 16 points a game. So pretty solid. But he's not up there with your Cooks, your Henrys, and your Kamaras.
He's a guy that you would probably end up taking as an RB1 if you go quarterback receiver rounds 1 and 2 in redraft.
Yeah.
And you wait, if you're a later pick and you fall into a receiver and quarterback 1 and 2, you're going to want to take him in 3 if that's your strategy.
All right, going down the list, went from San Fran, Seattle. Let's do the Rams with their new, shiny, but old quarterback toy.
Yeah, I think that they've got try to breathe some life back into the offense. I think that they're still a defense first type team. Probably gives nod to that by bringing in a veteran quarterback that can kind of help run and coach up the offense himself, not somebody that you really have to focus on. This is something I've always said. I don't believe Stafford is a great NFL quarterback, but I believe he's a great fantasy quarterback. He's somebody that can fill in if you go running back or receiver heavy and you're going to have to start. Probably won't finish in the top 12, but could be fringe there just because how strong his arm is and how often he has ended up throwing in the past with a lackluster run game. Now that could change. We'll see. So for me, I would probably target him in Superflex as a QB2.
And real quick, we have Eric asking us here, Chris Carson or Melvin Gordon? I'd go with Chris Carson on it.
Yeah, Chris Carson for me as well. I think Melvin Gordon, especially for not doing too much last year and really be given a position to win over a job and not really sealing it for me anyway, I think I give it to Carson.
Yeah, because Chris Carson wasn't too far behind Gordon. I believe he was like 4 spots behind him, but Carson missed 4 games. If Carson played those 4 games, he could have easily outscored Gordon. That, and I still don't 100% know what's going on with Lindsey there. I don't know if they're doing split time or anything like that. But as far as Carson,
I believe Lindsey was hurt a little bit last year too, which gave Gordon more time than what Lindsey had.
Yeah. And like I said, if Chris Carson's 100%, they'll definitely give him 100% workload, or most of it at least.
So Chris says that Lindsey was cut. Is that true? That I didn't see that anyway.
I didn't.
Could quite possibly be true.
Lindsey is a Texan. Give me.
Eric says Lindsey is gone.
When was this?
As far as the durability goes, I'm not overly concerned because Melvin is more of a PPR guy out of the backfield. He doesn't really run as much, and I think that the way that Denver is trending to stretch the field, they're going to use him less in that role than what he had done with the Chargers. So for me, he doesn't bump too high versus what Carson is going to have to do for Seattle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Lindsey. This was like a month ago. Lindsey did sign with the Texans.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
I didn't even know that either. Goes to show you how much I pay attention to free agency and trades and all that stuff. Okay, but on to the Rams. Nobody really stands out there to me, to be honest with you. I'm not really a fan of Cooper Kupp. Not high on Stafford. With the exception of Cam Akers.
Cam Akers, I'm high on. I think he's a fringe RB1. I think that he came on strong at the end of the year. I think that the back end of that spectrum is just pretty high. But they've got Bobby Trees, right?
Bobby Trees.
Robert Woods.
Still there. I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, Bobby Trees, Cooper Kupp. I think he is very underrated. Same with Bobby Trees. I think both of them steal from each other and make themselves look like wide receiver twos when they could be, ones on a team that's running back heavy. So they're sneaky filling guys. I think not dead giveaway ones, but I think with a bigger arm in Stafford than in Goff, they will both do well.
Yeah, I think if you would have combined them together to make one receiver, it would definitely be wide receiver one.
And then they also have Higbee, who, if we know anything about what Stafford did with the Lions in the past 2 years with Hawkinson, I think Higbee will also succeed there with him under his wing too.
And also, since Everett isn't there no more, and they purely just have the one tight end now, definitely would give him more looks. And Chris says Rams got, I'm assuming that's Deshaun Jackson this year too. I'm not too concerned with him taking anything away from Kupp or Woods.
I think that's more of a veteran presence that can stretch the field when need be. I think that's all that is. I don't think that he's much of a threat to either of those guys.
I think he's definitely going to come out, maybe week 1 to 3, have that one big play, and then you're not going to hear from him for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's just going to be something that you have to respect, is that he can beat you deep.
Yes.
And that's all they're really going to use him for, because we know Stafford can hit him. So
he's done it with a what was it? He dislocated his shoulder and then still played the rest of the game or something like that.
Yeah, so that was in week 1 with the Eagles, and I think he led the team in receiving up to week 6 or something like that.
No, I'm not talking about Jackson. I'm talking about Stafford.
Oh, yeah, Stafford. Yeah, he dislocated his shoulder and threw a touchdown to win the game.
Yeah, so Stafford can do it.
I believe that was his rookie year, and I believe he's done it twice where he's had to make throws that come up like this. That's just a complete meatball down the field.
Is there anything else to talk about with the Rams? I mean, okay, so let me ask you this. Cam Akers, Dynasty, where are you taking him?
To me, he's an RB1 in Dynasty, a guy that I would want to target. I put him in the same club as Robinson and Taylor. I think he's number 3 in that group to target from last year's. I think I would rather have him for the value in Dynasty over a guy like Zeke, personally, for the value.
That's a bold move, Cotton.
In redraft, he's probably going to look to be an RB, like I said, a fringe RB1 will probably fall in that 3, 4, 5 range round-wise.
Yeah, I could definitely see him going early. Maybe I'm gonna say maybe 2. I'm gonna say probably second roundish in Dynasty, but definitely in redraft, I think he's gonna go a little bit further because you're gonna see your older but dependable guys go first who wouldn't usually go in Dynasty that early. Kind of pretty much like your Zeke's, probably Nick Chubb.
In redraft, you're probably going to see just big names go. You'll probably see Rojo go before him. You'll probably see both Hunt and Chubb go before him.
Probably see Melvin Gordon go before him.
No, I don't know about that.
I could see him doing it.
I don't think so. For me, I would very much question that person's rankings if they took Gordon over Cam.
I mean, because if you think about it, you're putting Cam on a high pedestal, but if you look at it, he didn't like really stand out like that. He had one game over 20 and three
You really,
games over 10.
you really just have to look at the end of the season and his push through the playoffs when they actually decided to run the ball.
Well, yeah. That's where a majority of his points came from, was the second half of the season.
Yeah, imagine if he does that year long and they run him like he's supposed to be run. I think he's not sharing carries with anybody.
They'll still probably make him share it because it's the Rams. All right, last team in the NFC West. One of the teams that is definitely going from 0 to hero, I think, this season is the Cardinals.
So they've got Christian Kirk, they've got Hopkins. They brought in who else out of the receiving core?
Oh gosh, out of the receiving core,
I know they brought in another receiver.
AJ Green.
Yeah, AJ Green, if he can stay healthy, and apparently, Larry Fitz is not technically retired, but just a free agent.
Yeah, so I wouldn't really count him. And then also just, I know this isn't really fantasy relevant, but just what they've done on the defensive side of the ball as well. Is that something that you worry about if they bolster up their defense?
No, it's something that actually helps them, right? Because you got to figure if the defense gets the other team off the field, that keeps your offense on the field longer, gives you more chances to score. So that's actually good fantasy relevance to the receiving core.
So in my opinion, wouldn't that be more relevant towards the running back? So say you're going up against a team, they're up 21-0, and they just want to run the clock out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just all depends on game plan, right? And when the score gets that high. I mean, 21-0 is not necessarily guaranteed anymore. We've seen a few of those get blown. Just ask Dallas
or Atlanta.
Yeah. So, for me, DeAndre Hopkins dynasty, second receiver off the board. Dynasty, probably close to about the same.
Who do you see going first in both?
Diggs, if you're me.
That's bias. So Eric's saying my team is a dumpster fire. I'm assuming he was talking
about the Cowboys, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought he was talking about like redraft or something. I was like, wait, you didn't draft yet in Dynasty. Our draft has yet to be determined. And we have Raven saying Arizona is weird.
Let's see the Cowboys.
And then they also signed James Conner. Do you see that hurting Edmonds any bit? Or do you still think Edmonds is going to put up the numbers that we expect him to?
I think it becomes the same situation as last year, right? Because Connor didn't really do that well, being the sole back with the Steelers last year, and Edmonds split time with Drake last year, so he's already got that committee type feel. Plus, with weapons like they do out of the receiving core, this probably should help both of them out, being able to stretch the ball even a little bit further, because AJ Green, if he plays a game, didn't play a single one last year, right? If he comes in healthy and actually stays healthy, we know that he can be a threat. Hopkins doesn't drop anything. I think the biggest concern for the running backs is their quarterback, right? Because everything's going to be play action. Everything's going to be option stuff where he can just run, because we know Kyler's got legs. So,
yeah, I know that that running quarterbacks definitely hurt the value of running backs. We know it with Lamar, how they have J.K. Dobbins, and Dobbins didn't really do too much last season. Uh,
Same with Buffalo.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't see Allen as being that much of a rushing quarterback compared to like Lamar or Murray.
So, fun fact for you, guy. Josh Allen has more rushing touchdowns in his first 3 years than Lamar and Vic.
I need to look this up.
He's at 25, and I believe Lamar had 21 and Vic had 20 in the first 3 years.
I'm looking it up now. Looking it up.
And I agree with Eric here. He says he wouldn't count on Green or Connor. Nice value late with possible upsides. I agree. I think that because of the value around him, I like Kirk as a younger receiver, and I see Hopkins as the 1A, 1B to Diggs, just because of what they do there, that run and gun, deep throw style, and he doesn't drop anything. Same with Connor, just because of how Lamar really runs, Murray runs around. So, and Raven says, should they draft a running back? I don't think so, because Edmonds was a rookie last year. So I think that just kind of adds to the mess. I think that they kind of have to stick with what they have. I think that they should probably get more offensive line help, maybe a late receiver, because there's still some deep there. I wouldn't go early on a running back, that's for sure.
Still looking up my stats here. I'm curious.
Go ahead. You can keep doing it. Go ahead all you want there, bud. Anyone else of note for the Cardinals? I know they got rid of Dan Arnold, who started to come on late for them. I believe he's now with Houston.
They
the tight end position.
Darrell Daniels, they signed at tight end. That's all the tight end signings I really see.
That means nothing.
Yeah, so nothing, pretty much. They mainly went heavy on signing, AJ Green, James Conner, JJ Watt, and then bolstering up their defense.
Well, what they have Clowney, right?
No, he went to the Browns.
Oh, that's right. Clowney is across from the stash. Did you find it yet?
2, 3, 4. I'm looking. Okay, so
Eric says Etienne has been projected to go there in a few mocks that he's seen. And he says, we'll see what happens in the draft. Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but isn't he projected to be a day one starter or at least compete for a job? I wouldn't want to draft that kind of guy just to have him sit and waste the value there if you just paid Connor and you still have a pretty decent second-year guy in Edmonds.
Okay, so I can confirm that Josh Allen did get more touchdowns. However, Lamar got more rushing yards, and Allen had more passing yards.
Correct.
Which is why I would lean that Lamar Jackson is more of a rushing guy, like more of a rushing quarterback than Allen.
He's more of a rushing quarterback, but from a fantasy perspective, the overall weight in touchdowns is going to outweigh the yardage if you score, and can outthrow too. So you're getting more touchdowns both sides of the ball. That's where your points are going to come from.
But we weren't talking about points. We were talking about tendencies. We were talking about play styles. You were comparing Allen to Lamar and Murray, but I wouldn't really put Allen in that same thing because Allen is. I see Allen as a throwing quarterback, like a deep ball guy.
Right. He's got the strongest arm. He does. He is a deep ball guy, but he's got the most rushing. He beats the rushing quarterback in rushing touchdowns in his first 3 years. To me, that screams rushing value, and shows why he should probably be quarterback 1 or 2 in redraft, and definitely 1 in dynasty.
Because like Lamar has 1,400 more yards rushing than him. Hence, Lamar's more of a rushing quarterback.
Either way, on to the next division.
Actually, next conference.
Yes.
So we did the NFC West. Now we do the AFC West. Time to go to the Super Bowl losers. Might as well start there. Kick it off. Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, I could see him going in first round regardless.
Yeah, first in both. Empty Wagon had him as a consensus number 2 behind Mahomes in Dynasty. I could see that. I can see them going 1 and 2 in both Dynasty and in redraft. Personally, I would target Allen just because of the value where it falls, and you got to get probably top 3 pick in redraft to take Mahomes just because guys are going to take him. All of FSA is super flex, so we know the value is there to take a quarterback that high.
So we're both in agreement. Mahomes, top 3 picks.
101 as far as quarterbacks are concerned.
Pretty much, yeah. Receiving wise, Tyreek Hill, I'm seeing him going second round.
I think he's right on the back end. He's on the turn.
Yes, I would definitely say on the back end of 2, maybe early 3. I wouldn't put him at early second. I feel like you're still going to have maybe your Hopkins, your Diggs. I think those guys might still be there. But he's probably going to go on the back end just because of the yardage, and he can score touchdowns. Kelsey, I know that you're kind of high on him going in the first round.
Yeah, Kelsey's 101 as far as tight ends, especially in redraft for me. I see him going in the first round, especially since FSA is a tight end premium. You got to remember it's 1.5 per reception on him. I personally see more value in taking that tight end spot in the first over a quarterback. As I've said before, your quarterback value is going to be in rounds 3 and 4. So for me, I wouldn't mind going tight end in the first round, but it would have to be him or Kittle, basically.
So besides Hill and Kelsey, who do you like? Do you have anybody else up there on a receiving target for either dynasty or redraft?
Receiving target, no. I think anyone else is really just a fill-in guy, just to spread the ball around to take the targets off of Kelsey and Hill. I think the only other guy on the team that's worth taking redraft-wise is going to be CEH in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think that his value dropped for me this year than last year just because the performance wasn't there with all the other weapons.
Now, where do you have him as far as dynasty goes? Because I know we have a couple startups coming up soon.
I would say probably in the same realm as redraft, RB2 with RB1 upside, probably in the 4, 5, 6 range. I know that some guys in Dynasty will probably jump them up to 2 and 3 just because of the age. Mm-hmm. But everybody knows that team is a throw first and Mahomes can run. So they're at least get out of the pocket to open up those throws. They're not really looking to set anything up on the run. It's usually short yardage or yard to go, something like that.
Yeah, he only had 2 games over 100 yards. One of them being the season opener against the Texans.
With no game film, we've talked about that before.
Exactly. And then the second one came from week 6 with at Buffalo. And in total, he only had 4 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown with only 36 receptions.
Yeah.
So,
not enough.
Yeah, not enough. More than Henry. But as we all know, Derrick Henry is not the type to catch it. You just hand it to him and he runs people over and stiff arms them.
I think that's got to be my favorite part of the year. Is getting that, one's gonna, you're gonna get one a year of Derrick Henry just spinning people like a helicopter.
So I think that wraps up Kansas City.
Yeah.
Next on the list, AFC West. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I want to go with the Chargers just because I love Herbert. I liked him before last season began, and I still like him. Definitely top 10 quarterback for me, easily.
Both redraft and in Dynasty?
I'm going to say redraft and Dynasty.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. I might have him just on the end of that 10. I might not have him high into it, but definitely probably top 10. Dynasty probably obviously a little bit higher. I think that he grows on last year. They bring, give him a little help around the ball and bring in a solid running back instead of going over a committee to help him out. Coach his legs up a little bit, and he could be pushing top 5.
Yeah, so they give him an extra target with Jared Cook, and Jared Cook can be reliable, up there in age a little bit, so you're not really going to get many years from him, but he'll be there for this year. And besides that, what'd you say?
At least he's going to be there as a decent check down.
Yeah, exactly. He can, go for those 10 to 15 yard passes. He's done it with New Orleans. But besides that, they've pretty much just been signing linemen and defensive players for him.
And who does he have receiver-wise again?
What is it? Keenan Allen and Allen. Mike Williams?
Yeah, Keenan Allen, probably one of the most underrated receivers in the league, probably one of the most consistent in the league as far as receptions and yards, just in staying even keel. I probably have him on the fringe side of wide receiver 1 with high upside if they can build that chemistry there.
Yeah, definitely a receptions kind of guy, I would say. Had 100 receptions last year and missed 2 games. So he's already got more than your Tyreek Hill, your Calvin Ridley's. So definitely a receptions kind of guy. But I wouldn't necessarily say he's wide receiver 1-ish. I think he could be, but it all depends on when you're picking and who's there during your pick. Like, I know you talked about it before. If you take maybe a running back and a quarterback and, it's your 3rd round pick and he's there, definitely take him as your wide receiver 1.
Yeah, so you got to remember when I say wide receiver 1, I'm just looking for them to finish in the top 12.
Which last year he finished it at 14, but he did miss 2 games. Or 2 games and a partial, because I'm assuming he missed most of week 15 as well.
And then who do they have out of the backfield?
Out of the backfield, it was it Justin Jackson or Joshua Kelly that they mainly used?
I believe they used them both interchangeably. Both had injury issues, though, right?
I believe so. So I think because of that, unless they go out and draft somebody with their pick, it was Eckler. I forgot. Yeah, it was Eckler, but he was injured for just about half the season. But pretty much I would say with their with their running backs being, riddled with injuries, it just kind of adds the value to Herbert because of how much they're going to have to throw.
Yeah, I think that if I'm going to target any of their running backs, I'm going to try to handcuff them and take 2 just in case.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if you can get Eckler on a good year where he's healthy the whole season, then I definitely think you found a, running back 2, maybe a flex spot for him.
Yeah, I think they're all going to end up being flex spot fringe 3s, depending on how many running backs you want to go. But
Yeah,
I don't see any of them at much value for you throughout the year.
you had Balaj. Unless he just became a Charger, but it says here that he's a Charger. Kelly. Yeah, I don't really see much of it.
I thought Balaj went to the Steelers.
Well, I don't know. I'm on 2020 for the redraft stats, and it has him at that he's a Charger.
Well, he was.
Well, then he probably just became a Steeler this season. All right. I'm sitting here roasting my brain trying to remember who's in this division. Raiders.
Denver and Vegas.
Do you want Vegas or do you want Denver?
We'll go Vegas. We'll go gamble on that team a little bit. They keep both quarterbacks. Mariota thought to have gone someplace else. Stays, I believe, right? And Derek Carr, still trying to break through, kind of falling in that second tier type in your Stafford area, where he can put up some yards but not really dependable.
Yeah, I mean, he had decent games last season. I definitely think that if it comes around, 5th round, maybe if you already have a quarterback and you need somebody for that super flex position, he'd be your guy, definitely. Not quite in that top 12 region, like literally just on the outside looking in. So definitely a super flex spot for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. Receiving core, though, Henry Ruggs, I'm pretty high on. Obviously has the speed there. Hopefully he's healthy. They have Hunter Renfrow still. They have who was the other rookie they had that Edwards.
Oh yeah, the one guy. Yeah, you and Damian were going at it. So I'm definitely I would probably take a gamble on Ruggs this season. I know I took a gamble on him last year and it didn't really pay off for me. But what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So I think I'd definitely go with Ruggs again. Like I said, Derek Carr, super flex. As far as running backs go, I easily see Josh Jacobs running back 1 again this season.
Yeah, I think that they brought in somebody, though, didn't they?
They brought in Kenyon Drake and Theo Riddick.
And they have the other running back still. That makes 4 for them.
Oh, I know. I know who you're talking about.
Jacobs is still probably going to be the 1. Drake is going to be 2. Probably going to turn into a committee.
Jalen Richards, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that as long as Josh Jacobs can stay healthy throughout the season, I don't think he's going to have a problem keeping that number 1 spot. I think injuries is only going to be the only thing that pulls him away from it.
Which is probably the reason why they bolstered that running back room, right? Is just to keep his legs fresh, make sure he's not a 3-down back to run him into the ground, and in any need in any situation where there is an injury, to make sure that they're still pretty good.
Because I'm sitting here looking at some of the top running backs. I mean, with the exception of Henry, but some guys sitting here under like 200 rushes. And then Josh Jacobs was upwards of almost 300 with Derrick Henry. But obviously, Derrick Henry's just a workhorse where his workload's going to eventually catch up to him.
And then we have Darren Waller, who we both have top 3, both redraft and dynasty.
Yes, definitely. I'm gonna say 3 in redraft, 2 in dynasty, with the exception of Pitts probably making an appearance somewhere in there, depending on where he goes. But definitely top target. He's going to be gone by round 2, maybe round 3.
Raven says, "Where's O?" I'm not sure who he's referring to.
Where's O? I don't know who O is. And then moving on to the last team that we have, finishing it off. I know our brains are fried from trying to remember all this knowledge. We have the Denver Broncos.
I'm going to start with the biggest question mark for me, and that pretty much makes everything revolve around this. Is Locke really they're going to be their quarterback?
I don't know. But yeah, I'm definitely at like 110% agreeing with you. It all depends on who is throwing the ball, because they do have weapons with Big Booty Judy and I'm assuming Cortland Sutton is still there.
Yeah, Sutton's still there. They have Judy. They have all kinds of weapons. They've got Fant, the tight end, but Locke wasn't dependable. Obviously, got hurt. Wasn't dependable the year before. They had him as the starter, and then you go and you make him the starter. You don't bring anybody in, and you see what happens here. Raven says, "Good night, boys. See you next show." Good night, Raven. Thanks for checking us out. If you don't catch the end of the show, you can always check us out on podcast on Apple, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor FM, Amazon Music, and anywhere else you find podcasts for your listening pleasures. We can be found. And then he said, "Locke is garbage."
I agree. I think they need to get a new guy in there, somebody that's more dependable and somebody who can show up when is asked to. But I could definitely see Noah Fant being tight end 1 on your team. If you don't manage to nab one of the top 3 or 4 guys on our lists.
Fant's definitely up there. Fant, I definitely see also high in Dynasty. He circles right around Hawkinson with me.
But your guy.
It's hard to place any of their receivers with Locke there. I just don't trust him to help any of those guys out.
Yeah, I think that's the number one, like the biggest question mark there. And newly found with Philip Lindsay being gone, where do you see Melvin Gordon going?
Like I said, he's still in that RB2 range, so 4, 5, 6, depending on where the run falls in redraft. I wouldn't take him as a top guy. Maybe a top guy if I go, back-to-back receivers in 1 and 2 and take, or if I go real high in quarterback tight end range and you wait on receivers or running backs for some reason. But outside of that, if you stick to a normal strategy, I would sit on him.
Yeah, I definitely think your safest bet with Denver is just going to be their running backs. Until we know who's throwing the ball. What was that?
You say your safest bet is going to be their running backs?
If you're looking at just Denver as a whole,
yeah.
Overall, the number one thing I'm going to look for in Denver as of right now is just their running backs. Until I know who's throwing the ball to them, I mean, if Judy's there and you're in a dynasty startup, go ahead and take Judy, please, because you never know what's going to happen 2-3 years from now. Locke could be gone, and they could have Patrick Mahomes there. Never know. So, but yeah, like I said, Judy and Sutton, it's a big question mark for me.
I agree.
All right. We have reached our hour and some odd change mark. I think it is time to wrap this up. Won't you say?
That about does it for me.
All right. I will put on my talking lungs here. Before we return to our regularly scheduled Average Bros Fantasy Show on April 27th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, check out the flagship program with Brian and my average brother Kevin on the Fanatically Real broadcast next Wednesday. I'm sorry, tomorrow on April 21st. And I saw that smile on your face. No, I didn't fix it in my script yet, but I remember to say it. At 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Make sure you guys are definitely here if you guys are entered into the giveaway, so you guys can, make sure if you guys won or not. If you guys aren't entered into the giveaway, like I said, make sure you guys head on over to Twitch and search up fantasy_sports_alliance. Give it a follow. Share the page on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and tag us in there. Get yourself entered in there. All that fun stuff, as well as catch the Empty Wagon guys this Saturday at midnight Eastern Standard Time on April 24th. If you are unable to watch us live, check us out on Anchor, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, anywhere you can find us for your listening pleasures. Thank you for watching the Average Bros Fantasy Show, sponsored by Football Darts and Fantasy Sports Alliance. If you like the show, please like, share, and subscribe to the show. And follow us on all of our social media outlets. Before we head out, I would like to thank all of our sponsors. QB54, Monkey Knife Fight, Nature Coast Tailgating, Cranky Veteran Candle Company, Shell and Mel's Boutique, Finger Lakes Mercantile, Kevin, get off your phone, Southern Sirens Sugar Scrub, Redwood Durables, and, of course, the Recast, who are the official music of FSA. Kevin, you non-paying attention. Any final words?
Attention. I was checking out our Discord channel. If you're not there, you should get there.
Be there or be square, like some people like to say. All right. I'm Average Josh. That's just Kevin. We are the Average Bros.